Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I'm delighted to have you join me, and I'm very grateful for the support that I have received. It's been wonderful. So, yesterday I did a reading on Epstein, but that reading was really focused on his path, not sort of any of the peripheral players. And I have gotten some really amazing questions. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do another reading kind of on that same topic, but it's going to encompass Trump, Epstein, and Acosta. They're not going to be individual. It's sort of going to be like a big story I'm hoping to be able to tell you. So, you have a question. And the question is, what is the bigger story about the Trump, Epstein, and Acosta connection? What does that look like? What is it going to look like going forward in terms of people who are impacted or affected? So we're just going to do a couple quick shuffles, and then we're going to get to the bottom of this and see if we can figure out something that gives us a little bit more information, a little bit more insight. So, come on down. All right, so Trump, Epstein, Acosta, Trump, Epstein, Acosta, Trump, Epstein, Acosta. Yesterday when I was doing the reading for Epstein, I kept looking for the cards that represent, to me, Trump. I was especially looking for the King of Pentacles, and I was also looking for the Fool. And neither one of those cards showed up, which is why he sort of wasn't brought into the reading in any way, shape, or form. Again, that wasn't the question that I asked. So here he is, front and center, just where he likes to be. Okay, this is expansive. This whole situation with Epstein is expansive. It goes beyond the boundaries or the borders of the United States. Now, saying that, I'm not sure if that little St. James Island or whatever that little island is that he apparently owns or whatever. I don't know if actually that's within the border of the United States. But what mainland, Florida, New York, wherever else he has residences within the mainland of the United States, it goes beyond that. It goes, I want to say, international. And internationally, he is also being looked at. So this isn't like a little snowball. This is going to turn into an avalanche. And you know what? In part, it really, honestly, it boils down to things like the Me Too movement, and it boils down to people just saying enough is enough. Sex trafficking, human trafficking has become so much, there's so much more awareness now than there ever was. And all of these factors sort of conflate to create the perfect storm that is brewing against the Epsteins of the world. So that's good news. Epstein is kind of aware that he really has nowhere to turn, okay? The broken hearts, the damage that has been done is absolutely demanding its time to heal. And it will be given its time to heal. And of course, this is Trump's card. So let's take a look and see if we can figure out what Trump's story is. Okay. Yeah. So, if Trump is involved with sort of the girls and the women and all of his sort of sexual escapades, a couple of things. First, for Trump, there are going to be more women who have been sexually assaulted by him coming forward, okay? That unfolding of events is not done, and as it moves closer and closer to the election, more and more of these people are going to surface because they're finally going to, as we go towards the election, we're going to be watching a slow motion depletion of Trump's power and his ability to shape the narrative. In part because there's so much going on with the Democrat nominees, or the Democrat, whatever that is, the people running for the nomination for president, candidate. Thank you. So as that happens, and the focus continues to shift farther and farther away from Trump, women who have still not come forward are going to be coming forward because they're going to feel like they have a stronger position now because, frankly, his position has been diminished. So that's like good news. So, all of a sudden, Trump is not a big fan of Epstein, never was, never liked the guy, despite the fact that he spent a great deal of time socializing and partying with him and praising him over the years. So that kind of answers one question. Is Trump likely to pardon Epstein or interfere in this legal process in any way? And the answer is no, he's not. He is so busy protecting himself. He is so busy trying to get his ducks in an order, kind of take what he needs to take, get himself set up and established to go forward. He doesn't have time, frankly, to play around with this kind of little stuff. And that's how he literally sees it. Even if his opinion is that Epstein did nothing wrong, and that would be a vile opinion to have, but even if that was his opinion, he would not do anything to draw attention to that. He will actually, in this instance, sort of look to keep a very, very low profile on this because, as his advisors are telling him, anything that has to do with any sort of sexual indiscretion, sexual assault, it brings to mind all of the charges that have been leveled against him. And so he is really going to try to back away as much as he can and stay backed away. There's another woman coming forward. Yeah, Trump's really going to go into retreat on this, and he's just hoping that the light doesn't end up shining on him. So a couple of things. One of the questions I got yesterday was, can William Barr interfere in this? So yesterday, William Barr excused himself from anything pertaining to the Epstein case. And if you had watched William O'Donnell last night, no, that's not his name. The O'Donnell guy that follows Rachel Maddow. Chris O'Donnell, thank you. So if you saw his show last night, he was talking about, he used the excuse of a law firm a long, long time ago that Epstein used for something. Well, then a long, long, long time after that, William Barr was a member of, and so he needed to excuse himself. In fact, it would appear that the reason that William Barr wanted to excuse himself was because his father had some connection to Epstein years ago, and in fact that connection ended up being investigated because Epstein, with no teaching degree, no university education, was hired by a school that Senior Barr was running to teach young girls and boys math. So I think that Barr has stepped away because he's trying to make sure that the slop water doesn't fall on his family. Too late, too little. Okay. Here we go. The judge that was appointed by Trump is not going to be swayed or beholden as he adjudicates this case against Epstein. The fact that he was appointed by Trump is going to have literally no bearing on this, and in part because Trump is going to do everything he can to remove himself from this situation, to back away. I know nothing. I don't know anything about it. I wasn't involved with him. I didn't like him. I don't have an opinion. Honest to God, he's got to be the only president in the world who doesn't have an opinion about actual things that are going on in his country. Okay, now granted, the president is supposed to stay away from any legal decisions and any court cases, except he hasn't so far. So when he actually starts screeching that he doesn't have an opinion, it's always a really clear indicator that he doesn't want this coming to him. He doesn't want it reflecting on him. So the judge is independent and will be independent in this situation. Another question I got was about Jim Comey's daughter. I think her name is Maureen. I could be wrong. Who is a assistant prosecutor in this case. And is that going to cause a problem? And in fact, it's absolutely not going to cause a problem. The connection is too... it's not connected strongly enough. This isn't a case about Trump. This is a case about Epstein. And so her being James Comey's daughter is completely irrelevant. There is no overlap or any conflict. So again, she is going to be able to carry forward and do her job. And, you know, expect for her to be very good at what she does. She's not going to get sort of a lot of public exposure, but behind the scenes, that which she contributes to the prosecution of Epstein is going to be significant. Okay? Acosta. This is going to be interesting. I said yesterday that he is going to pay a significant price for his part in the sweetheart deal that Acosta got in Florida. This is how I see this sort of unfolding. Right now, Trump is saying, oh, you know, other people made that decision. It wasn't just him. It wasn't just Acosta that made that decision. But I can sure tell you, he's been a wonderful, Secretary of Labor. Okay, well, two things about that. First of all, I think that Acosta is being put on a side burner for right now because they're keeping him in abeyance. They want to use him as the scapegoat, as the distraction, should events start pointing really significantly to Trump. So then, should that happen, or frankly, when that happens, he is going to be trotted out as the sacrificial lamb to, and not that he doesn't deserve it, make no mistake, but he's going to be trotted out as the sacrificial lamb to be the ultimate, again, distraction or pivot for Trump's benefit, okay? People start getting too close to any Trump connection to this situation, and all of a sudden Acosta's getting fired, probably by tweet. And again, that distracts from Trump and any part he played in this. Yeah, there's a lot of secrets, and the information that they're gathering from the search warrants as the investigation goes forward, as more victims come forward. The story, frankly, is going to get kind of uglier and uglier, and it's kind of going to be a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see this falling away from the news cycles. This is something that is going to be followed very closely and watched very closely. So there isn't going to be any sort of sweeping this under the rug. There isn't going to be any sort of camouflaging it or keeping it, quiet and confidential, in part because the prosecutors have no intention of letting this fade from the headlines. They want in their own fashion, of course. They want the public opinion to be front and center on this. They want people demanding answers. They want people demanding justice. And one of course, the ways to do that is keep this front and center. Also, just to backtrack, this is just a thought that I've just received. So, on Acosta, one of the things that is going to expedite and put his position with the administration on much, much shakier ground is if people, the people of America literally start flooding the White House, the Department of Labor's department, the Secretary of Labor's Acosta, flood his emails, his phone lines with demands that he step down. So again, this is one of those situations where people can literally build the momentum up to such a point that they are causing and shaping events to go the correct way. So if you've got some time and a little bit of anger and nothing to do, don't hesitate to start firing off those emails or text messages or making those phone calls, because it actually will have a significant impact, because Trump is really, really trying to keep this away from him. And so the more, we all know this, right? The more attention that is drawn to something that isn't Trump or makes Trump not look good, the more likely he is to react in such a way so that things get shaken up and changed. Okay. This is about Trump and perhaps any sexual escapades that went on with girls connected to Acosta. As of right now, I'm pretty sure I understand that there are two of them who have stories that have sort of been made public. Watch for a third. There could very, very well be another girl who, and girl, okay, someone under 18, under the age of consent, who also had some sort of an encounter with Trump. And again, safety in numbers. Do not be surprised if her story doesn't come out. And in that case, I wouldn't be surprised actually if she isn't, when it comes out, sort of represented by a very powerful lawyer. I get the feeling that it's not going to be a subtle unveiling of these events. It's going to be a little bit bigger and bolder to really, really draw attention to Trump and his own behavior. He, of course, sees it in a very different light than the rest of the world. Because again, it goes back to that attitude from this life and past lives about females, being concubines, females being there to serve, females' role being to pleasure and to comfort and support men. Trump has carried this attitude and this belief for many, many, many lifetimes. He really is a Neanderthal in that respect, okay? This is one area where he literally just does not evolve. It's all about keeping for himself what he wants to keep for himself. And if that includes some sexual dalliances, well, okay, so that's what it includes. He really doesn't get why it's a big deal. He only now is coming to understand it's a big deal because other people are saying, yeah, this is really yucky and you probably need to distance yourself from it. Privately, with his old buddies, he really is of the opinion that, like, Jesus, I wish these girls would just shut the hell up. It's not a big deal. And, they were compensated. So what are they complaining about? Like, I swear, that is what goes on in this ancient primate's head, okay? Like, there is no enlightenment coming from him at all. So expect that to surface. And it will be in connection with the Epstein, case, and information coming out and more people stepping forward. It's going to have a little wee bit of a snowball effect, okay? He's going to be working very hard to protect himself. It's not going to happen. Now, the final thing I want to say about Trump is this. Even if they are building a case, even if there is all kinds of evidence against Trump, it will go into a sealed indictment. It will be kept secret and quiet because you're going to run into that same problem of, you can't indict a sitting president and you can't charge one. And until the Democrats take over in the next election and start strengthening some of these rules and reevaluating some of the decisions that have been made, they can't go over after him. We all want them to. We get it. I understand. Let's just get this guy in shackles and bounce him out of the White House. But they can't do it. And honestly, this plays into exactly what me and frankly a lot of other readers have been saying, which is that famous, death by 1,000 cuts. Once he leaves office, Trump is going to be inundated with legal problems. And those legal problems are going to be what he then spends the rest of his time defending, trying to clear his reputation. He is going to blow through his company resources trying to defend himself. And ultimately, he may very well just leave the country and kind of live in exile, because at some point he's going to realize that, this is a snowball that is just gaining so much momentum. I am never going to be able to dig my way clear. And so maybe the only actual way for him to get out from under this is literally to become like a fugitive, to leave the country. Whether that happens or not, I don't know, but I definitely see it as something that he would definitely consider. And at that point, it would really be up to law enforcement to ensure that he's not able to leave the country. So, hopefully, this helps give some additional clarity and insight as to what I think and see is going to happen going forward. I will continue to monitor this situation and read on it as I have information that I feel needs to be, shared. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm hoping that this has answered some of the questions that are out there and bring some further insights. So, for now, take care, be well, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.